Welcome to another episode of My Temple, where we are helping people along their journey, going within, transforming their life using the power of love. And today, I want to start off by actually sending much peace and love and happiness to everybody around the world. I don't know if it's day or night, but I hope that this video and content that we're putting out is beneficial to you. And let's get started. Today, I have with me my cousin Deyon. Um, I've been blessed to know Deyon, watch him grow in life. He's been a huge impact in my life, and I've been able to see him grow into an amazing father and a husband and just an overall human being. And even though he's younger than me, I've learned a lot from him, and I appreciate that. You can always learn things from anyone, young or old. So again, I've been blessed to have him part of my life. Now, I want to hand it over to Deyon so he can kind of give himself a little introduction.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, Ronnie, thank you for having me on the podcast. Super excited to see what's to come. I feel like this is definitely warranted and needed. So I'm excited to be a part of the journey here. My little bio 411. I always like to tell people first, I'm a husband, then I'm a father, son, brother, cousin, and all around person, man of the community. I love people. I love helping. I think that's a huge part of like my why is to figure out what I can do each and every day to help somebody, whether it be a stranger, friend, or family member. That's what I'm about. So, yeah, man, that's just a little bit about me. I'm, father, son, brother, husband, community person, representative of Chicago. Let's go.
Yes, Chi-Town, baby. Love
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. And I will say, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, Deyon. So all those things you mentioned about yourself, I can attest that that is who you are, and you're constantly growing. And it's always good to see how you grow each season of your cycle. With that said, I just released an article called Navigating This System and Using Love as Your Compass. I will supply the link in the description of the video that you can go check out. But we're also going to be talking about it today in only just one subject, one section in that article. And it's called Media and Entertainment. And we're going to discuss, does it really impact us and shape us of who we are, and how does it impact us, and what can we potentially do to change the narrative on certain subjects within media and entertainment. So I want to start that off, Jan. Do you feel or think media impact you, and what have impacted you?
Let me sit up in my chair a little bit here. Uh, wow, that's a great question. I absolutely feel like, at least more so when I was growing up, media, music, sports, all type of entertainment from acting, that stuff really impacted me, kind of shaped it, who I was. Just kind of a little bit about my backstory. I grew up with a single mother. There was a lot of women around growing up, whether it was your mom, a lot of my aunts, my cousins. So I didn't really have a father figure growing up. So a lot of times I would use, father figures on TV as a representative of who I wanted to become. So for me, it wasn't in a negative light. For some reason, my brain gravitated towards family and like trying to be successful, and like Will Smith on Fresh Prince was like a huge huge part of who I wanted to be like. And I was like, oh man, he's cool, he plays sports. Yeah, but I think it is a huge part, especially in black community. Entertainment, sports, that is a huge part of our culture. It's a huge part of who we are. So I definitely will say it impacted me growing up for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I definitely think media and entertainment has had some level of impact on everybody's life. No matter what culture you have came from, I think it has impacted people. I remember in school, everybody wanted to be like someone. You know, a new artist group come out, and everyone wanted to associate themselves, and their little clique be hanging out, and they call themselves one of the members of the artists and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was funny, you know, and you can actually sometimes tell what TV shows people are watching or music they listen to because it comes out in their own characteristics. It's almost like they embodied
Abs-
that character. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. I would agree. I think that was a lot of like how I learned how to become a young man, like embodying a lot of the characters on TV. And we're from Chicago, so when it comes to sports, Michael Jordan is like the guy. I mean, he's worldwide well known from different cultures and backgrounds. So imagine that being in our backyard every single day.
oh
So
yeah.
you know how it is. It's like Jordan mania.
And I was living in Chicago at that time when Jordan and the Bulls was going back to back repeat. Everybody outside trying to do every little move and fade away like Jordan and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's just something natural, you know. You put something on TV and we gravitate to it. It is entertaining. That's why we call it entertainment. And entertainment has been part of humankind forever. You know, before the TVs and stuff, they had live plays, live shows, and stuff like that. They've had music, and before it was recorded, they just attended events and hearing the instruments live. So it's just part of us, you know.
Well,
It's
even
definitely
back even further, when you look at Roman times and gladiators and things of that nature, when they would do stuff like that, it's been around eons.
I'm glad we don't see gladiator times now. I mean, we still have some pretty rough
Oh
sports in boxing, but I can imagine just walking into a arena and seeing people do like sword fights and kill
my!
'em.
Lions coming from the left, bears coming from the right.
So in that sense, I think
Crazy.
we progress. Um, but some of the entertainment nowadays is still kind of gruesome and things like that that can impact us. So definitely is something that we want to continue to monitor and see what we allow into us because it can impact us in that way, you know. And with that said, I talk a lot about in the article that since we live in a system that is all about monetization and profit and potentially trying to control the narrative of people, I think we can see how those who potentially have the power to do so, it's within potentially their best interest to paint the picture and narrative of certain different cultures or people or even what and how they want to shape the future, you know. And I've always
Right.
talked a lot about if you want to change the future, it's all about the kids because the kids is always going to be the next generation. So when you put out content to the young kids, you're planting seeds in their mind and you are creating what the potentialities of them will become, you know? Because like we just said, that when we're young, we gravitate to certain characters and different things. So if this media is constantly pushing and saying like this culture is like this, or you can only do this type of work or jobs, and here's your heroes and things like that, it kind of impact us. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 1000%. I agree with you. It starts with the kids, but I'll add another layer to that. I think it starts with the parents of the kids. The parents of the kids I would say, should be pushing their kids towards things that are going to help them become better people, help them become a little more educated. I know, for me, I was home alone pretty much a lot. My mom worked two jobs, so it wasn't like she was saying watch Sesame Street or watch, Bill and I, the Science Guy. It was like whatever was on TV, it was the Wild Wild West. I was watching pretty much everything or anything. So yeah, I really do believe that our generation, then our parents, our generation of parents, the millennials, it's up to us to really cultivate an environment conducive to education and spiritual growth and mental growth, not just sports all the time, not just movies that are action and violence, but like really trying to teach our kids because the internet can be the best thing for you or the absolute worst thing for you. There's so many avenues of learning. There's so much you can learn. I can learn how to speak Japanese. I can learn how to speak Russian. I can all by myself just by a Google search or a YouTube search. So I really do believe it is up to the parents to cultivate that environment for the kids moving forward.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a lot of great points. And there's always a duality of the things that we create, and it can be for the betterment of us, or it can take us down a dark path. And it's up to us on our choices and things that we make. And you also made a good point about it's great for the parents to be involved in understanding and knowing what their kids are consuming. But we also I want to give some grace and love to past generations of families too, because the system haven't made it easy for parents to be parents. Everyone is consumed with a lot of times work, work, work. Two parents trying to build a career because you have to in order to survive, or that's at least what the system wants you to do. Because we are a consumer, there's producers and consumers in this economic system. And they make it so if you have to buy things and the prices and stuff goes up, now you need two parents and stuff to work. Now you don't have time to be with your kids, or you come home, you're stressed, and you have to hurry up and cook. You just want silence, so you're like, go play this, go watch, just be busy. I just need some time to
Earplugs,
myself.
please. Just
That's
need a
what I
nap.
blame myself while my son, is a video game head now, because that was me. I got home from work. My wife had to go into work, and in the evenings, and I still had to work. So it was like I was put in a position. I kind of put him in front of those video games, but I did try to at least find games that I felt that was going to stimulate his mind. um, I want to say I put them in front of Roblox because they had the Lua scripting language and stuff like that. I know
Yep.
Roblox is getting a lot of heat right now because it's the
Yeah.
whole duality of things where you build something for something good, it's always going to be met with some negativity.
Malicious intent. Yeah,
So
bad
now
people.
we have to, yeah, we just have to be aware and conscious of that, and again monitor what our kids and stuff are doing.
And I
So
just want to add to that too, Ronnie. I 1,000% agree, and I'm glad you brought that full circle. A lot of it wasn't our parents' fault or their parents' fault before them. A lot of it, if not all of it, has to do with the system that was put in place in front of them. The wheel that they're running on, where it's like they're chasing a carrot, but they're never going to reach that carrot because of all of the obstacles in the way. So you're 1,000% right, where um, they really had no choice. It was like I have, especially single parents, right? We have to work two jobs or three jobs, so the kids are with the grandparents. The grandparents are doing X, Y, and Z, so the kids are watching and doing whatever their friends are doing. So there's just this whole rabbit hole that spirals out of control. But now I do feel like people are starting to wake up a bit more. That third eye is starting to open and a lot of clarity. I'm serious, man. Where it's like, ho, I don't think I want to sit my son in front of a TV all day or a phone all day, or maybe I'll put my oldest son. I have him doing yoga with his grandmother, and I didn't even know what yoga was till I was like 25.
yeah.
So for him to learn about that now and breathing techniques now at 12 is just going to help him in the long.
Oh yeah, I definitely think finding healthy activities for our kids to do, being out, not glued to the TVs and things like that, creating a human connection again, learning about yourself. I think exercise is good, whatever stretching exercises you want to do. Some people do Pilates, some people find yoga to be beneficial, but it's all about movement. It's all about movement and stuff like that. And I want to say, again, when we hone back into the media and content and how it's shaping us. Now let's dig a little bit deeper, and I kind of want to touch on this subject a little bit with a little love and grace, and be kind of understanding, uh, because it could be a debatable conversation amongst many people, because I can see both sides of it. Do you feel that we should eliminate or at least stop showing maybe content around the struggles of certain cultures that has happened, like maybe slavery and or like jail systems, or things that has been deeply part of people's cultures, and keep pushing a narrative of that is that culture?
Wow, that is a great question. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I have the answer to that question. Man, because I do I see the sides of both coins. I do want to say we have to escape out of that mental prison that they continue to hold us in. When you continue to see those same images about your people, and you see, the same things over and over and over again, it starts to take hold of you, and you start to hold a grudge, and there starts to be anger and a whole bunch of different emotions that come up that you don't necessarily need to have these days. It's cool and it's great and it's very important to understand about the history of your people. But also, the history is way further and deeper than where that 400 years. Black culture, Black history dates way further beyond that time frame. And then also, you don't want to always continue to look backwards. We
Yeah.
want to progress and move forward. So for me, if it's not about the present time or the future, I really don't look into it anymore because I found myself, that was a huge part of things that I had to work on is I always would think about the past and things that didn't go right and hold grudges against people that I don't even, they probably don't even remember something happened or even know, I exist anymore. Like I used to hold grudges against people from like high school and middle school. And I remember certain things, and I still do. I still remember certain things that were said. No, to answer your question, if I would have to, I would say it's important to know the history, but I don't think it's something that you should live in for the rest of your life or hold a grudge against someone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of those points. I do see multiple sides of it. I've pondered over this quite a bit, and it's one of those things. It's like I think I was watching a video or interview of Tupac one day, and he talked about like, well, if you want me to rap or sing about something different, then change the environment that I'm in because I'm rapping about the things that I see. You
Mhm.
know, you want
Amen.
that to change, I would do that. So I understand it from that standpoint. People are just voicing or expressing their artistic self about the environment that they've grown in and telling their story and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think we should complement that with additional things to be positive reinforcements on how change happens and how people develop. Like this may have been my story from the start, but this is what I'm striving to do, and these are the things I'm doing to change it. Use that creative outlet for that as well. Um, but also, like you mentioned too, is like when you tell those stories of the past, and especially when it's so far back in the past, it does something to us. It makes you feel a certain way. And for the people out there who read books like The Secret or The Laws of Attraction and stuff like
Yep.
that, all about using energy to create something, you know? So if you think about it, when you embody those feelings, when those stories are told to you, what does that make you feel like doing? You go outside and you see somebody else, you get mad, you know, and then you reinforce and you direct anger towards someone. So I think that spirit can just keep amplifying and creating the narratives that we actually want to change. So becoming an alchemist of it, and like you said, don't look at it from the standpoint of allowing it to anger you. Transmute that and say, how
Yep.
do I change it? It's not about protesting against an organization or a institution thinking that they're going to change it. It's about how we go about walking and we show up in life and community, or we start creating content and painting a new narrative of what it is that we want to see ourselves, right?
Right.
Because we don't have to be what they keep putting people in a box to be. We don't have to do that, you know. We can acknowledge it, and that's one of the meditation techniques and things that people have. Is like acknowledge these thoughts, and then put it to the side, or acknowledge it and address it in the future. But the idea is to neutralize it and don't
Right.
allow certain emotions to take over you. You use that and transmute it. It's like a fire. You know, think about a fire. We know, like, if you see a fire burning, you're not going to pour gasoline on it. You're not going to use all the different materials and liquids to amplify that fire, you're going to take something to put it out. So take hate, transmute it to love, and create something different with it to change that we want to see it. And we don't pay it any attention like we don't pay a bully attention. When you don't pay that attention, it goes away. So if we want to see the narratives of different cultures change and things like that, I think we have to take control over the content that we want to see and put it out there. And the less we pay attention, it's like that supply and demand. The less we pay attention to the things that they keep trying to put out there and transmuting it into something good, that's what we're going to see. We're going to change the incentive of the profits because nobody's going to show up to see that. Like, man, I ain't saying that. You're trying to get me to hate my neighbor or my brother or my
Right.
sister, or you want to make me think my people are nothing but bad, you know?
I
So,
love that. I love that analogy, Ronnie, of not adding fuel to the fire, right? And the fact that you brought up the different points around transmuting the energy, energy is just such a pivotal and huge word that people don't realize is when you're giving all your energy towards something negative like that, or towards a emotion that you're carrying or holding on, it's almost like that's who you become. Like you said, you mentioned the alchemist and manifestation and creating and things like that. And when they talk about manifestation, you have to put yourself in a certain mindset, in a certain headspace, and you have to. It starts here with your belief, and I think what happens is when you're holding on and you're carrying all of this baggage, whether it be things that happen in your life, whether it be slavery, whether it be redlining and things that's happened to black people for hundreds and hundreds of years, when you carry that energy and you carry that weight, it's really hard to manifest something beautiful and great and find that next version of yourself and that next level of yourself because you're so stuck in a certain frequency and vibration. So you have to break out of that. And I just want to add too, that's why it's great that you're doing this right here. Because growing up, you didn't see, and I'm not making this about race, but you didn't see black men talking about mental health, talking about the foods that you eat, talking about what it means to be successful and not idolizing certain people in media and things of that nature. Like we didn't have that avenue and outlet. So for a young boy or a young girl of any culture or background to see a black man talk like this, they're like, oh, for some people it might be, I've never met a black person and oh, black people aren't so bad. Or for a young boy or girl, it's like, oh man, I want to be like him. Or I want to listen and learn from a person like that, which I think is extremely powerful because I was that curious soul as a kid. And if I would have came across something like this, my mind would have just opened up in so many different ways.
oh, yeah, and I think it's good that you have many people talking about various different subjects and giving many people in their culture and outside of their culture something to look up to, or even at least look at a different culture differently because they hear them talking about things that they didn't think would be even talked about or discussed or even cared about. So I think it's another way to actually show the beauty amongst everybody is when you have open, transparent conversations because everyone I meet in different cultures, and then you can unite on that love aspect, because every human they have it. It kind of reminds me of one of my rabbit holes I went down is learning about Paul Ekman, who they base a TV series on called like Lie to Me. One of his
Okay.
research things he did was research different cultures to see about the different micro expressions and things that are expressed. He wanted to see like, is there really any difference between whites, blacks, or this tribe or that? And he's seen, even though he couldn't speak their language, he understood because of the emotions that they was showing. So it wasn't about the physical makeup or the outside of us. It was about what was inside, and he can see that being expressed to the physicalness. You can
Right.
tell when someone's sad or happy or angry and things like that because it is expressed. So again, we all are made up on the inside with a soul and many different things. So I mean, that's a whole nother subject and things we can go down and talk about, but keep it to the media and entertainment. And I do
Sure.
like that brought up the word idolizing because I did mention that in the article, and
Yep.
we kind of touched on it earlier when we associate ourselves with characters and things like that because we can kind of see ourselves in them at times. But I feel that we shouldn't idolize these individuals, but that is what the system wants you to do because once you start idolizing those individuals, now they put in position to start speaking on different matters, and they
Hmm.
become that figure, right? And from my perspective, and understanding how the world is made up, and there's only a limited amount of positions, again, supply and demand, that they put in place because it's only going to be, at least in the past, there was only a limited amount of people who can be a basketball star, football star, or an actor or singer because they controlled the content and what was being the distribution, and they controlled it.
Yep.
And because of that, we only had a limited amount of people that we can see that was doing the things that we actually wanted to do because there's millions of gifted artists, singers, potential actors, and things like that. But in a monetized system, especially when we want to control the minds of people, you limit that. You
Yep.
limit who's going to be the face of people. And then you create these trusting figures. And I would go a step further to say that limitation even happened in business, in companies.
Oh, yeah.
You're limited on how many roles and positions are available to people. And that gets people to go against each other and pit each other. But that's another discussion too. But I want
There's
to,
so much. There's
yeah.
so much.
So that brings my, we're about like at 26 minutes. I don't want to go too long because I know a lot of people don't have a lot of time. We're talking about time management and stuff like that. But I start leading into the whole discussion about people having the opportunity nowadays to actually start creating content and content that we actually want to see more of. It's the duality of us creating all this new technology, the ability to record, get access to cheaper equipment to make your own movies, animation, and things like that is opening up the doors where everything is not just funneled through a few different companies. People can just publish whatever it is that they want. Just start. It won't be the best in the beginning, just like this video. I don't know how to do a lot of editing and stuff, but I'm pretty sure over time I get better and better if that's what I keep on doing, and that's what the people want. I'm going to get better. I'm going to craft it. That's just human nature. We get better the more times we do something, So I encourage anyone who's a artist, whether you're singing or you inspired to be a comedian or actor or whatever, just start putting out your own content and people will gravitate to it and it will get better and better. And we
Yeah.
change the narrative. We start painting the picture the way we want to see it and the seeds that we want to plant in our kids' minds. And that's how we shape the future. At the
I was
end of the day,
gonna.
that's how we shape it.
I just want to add to that. I think the cool thing, the rabbit holes that I've been falling down lately is even now, so more than ever, you can be a beginner. Like I'm learning how to golf now, and people are making these videos where it's like my progression from 3 months to 6 months to 8 months, just like the journey of getting better at something. You don't have to necessarily be an expert at it. You don't have, like you were saying about being a singer, you can just start taking singing lessons and you can document that journey, and people love to follow your story, right? As long as you're bringing some value, or there's a little boy or girl who wants to do the same thing that you're doing, whether you're trying to learn Chinese or you're trying to be a ballerina, like go after it. The internet has changed the game with platforms like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, where you could just put your, like you said, you can publish your journey or your whatever you're doing, and people can follow along. And I think it's amazing to be a part of a time like this. But that does come with great responsibility too. And that's the important part. Because even going back to when you're talking about idolization and idolizing people, the thing about that I really am weary of is like we're all human beings. We all make mistakes, right? Even the Michael Jordans or the Kobe Bryants or the people who are at this high level, Denzel Washington, whoever you, Will Smith, um, they might be great at what they do professionally, but that doesn't mean that they're perfect. So when they make mistakes in the media and they make mistakes in public, what idolizing them do is it allows us to say it's okay, it's Will Smith, or it's okay, it's X, Y, and Z. I don't mean to just throw Will Smith, just whoever it is, regardless. And that's a slippery, slippery slope when people are, you know, making mistakes or big mistakes, and we're just giving them a pass because they're whoever. So that's the idolization is a scary slope, slippery slope. Even we talk about having presidents and dictators and like all of this stuff, man.
Yeah, everyone's human. Everyone has made a mistake who's walked the face of this earth. It gets amplified the more you're in front of a lot of people, and actually it gets used to control those people as well. As we seeing nowadays, like how things have been recorded of individuals and things, and it gets released when they no longer want to play the game, or if they want to put them on the sideline. And I think to touch on that point, to say that people were idolizing these stars and stuff like that. But as those stars have progressed in those careers, I think now it's kind of reversing a little bit. It's almost like some of those stars are envying, and not in a bad way, more of in a like respectful way of some of these younger generations and content creators because they've
Yeah.
taken their life in their own hand,
Hmm.
bound by these contracts. So we talk about free will and being able to do things freely and be able to express yourself freely. That means trying not to be bound to some level of contract. And just as much as actors and entertainers and things like that get bound to contracts, even employees are bound to contracts in corporations. You have your employee contract, read it. There's a list of things you can't do, competitors they don't want you to work for, things you can't speak on, and all these different things. They try to control the narrative. They try to control you. Artists and things like that who is like, man, I got a nice little a big deal from this big record company and stuff like that. I can't. Oh, I'm in. I'm about to start rapping. Then they come up with a whole album, and then it's like, no, 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 no. I don't want you to put that out. We need
Right.
you to change this up. We need you to rap. If you want that check, you
Where's
want to
this?
say, we need to wear this, do this. But then when they do that, see how it controls the narrative because they put that out, and then someone from another culture sees it and like, oh, see, that's why I don't like to listen to that genre of music because it's always about shake this, do this. But it's funny when I see some older people and we're talking about music and we're talking about I love all types of music and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I can get down with stuff. I don't like that hip hop stuff. It's all that. Boop, 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 boop. I'm like,
Yeah,
you know what?
it's
There's
not all like that, man.
not all like that. There's duality in every genre of music. Like I even listen to some country music. I
Yeah,
don't
me
sit there.
too.
I don't sit there and say, "Oh man, if country music, they always have." I like to call them tank tops. Now I caught myself where people always called it
The
something else.
WB, the WB.
Yeah, the W. So I'm like, white. I use my tank tops. I wear my
Yeah.
tank. But that was a stigmatism, you know. That
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
if you was a country singer, you must be wearing this. You must came from this neighborhood, and you do this to your spouse and stuff like that. It's like, no, man. They tell beautiful stories
Oh yeah.
and stuff like
Shout
that.
out, shout out Morgan Wallen. Morgan
Oh yeah,
Wallen's my favorite country singer, man. The guy's amazing. But just to add to your point there, like when it comes to music, there's so I think maybe I learned from you. Like I listen to reggae, I listen to hip hop, I listen to classical, I listen to country. I might listen to some EDM here and there. Music music is so beautiful, and there's so many emotional connections you can draw to the music. That's what I look for. If I can feel what they're saying, then I can get behind it. If I don't feel it, I don't listen to it.
I
Yeah.
used to love some EDM back in the day in my early tech days. I put my headphones on. I thought I was in the computer, man.
And when was it when you drove the Celica? Was you listening to EDM at the Celica?
That and before then, man, when I'll be in the basement, I'm hacking, thinking I'm like in a matrix or something. Music pounding in my ear, looking at code, piling my curves,
Follow the white
thinking,
rabbit.
thinking I'm doing something, all pumped up.
You
And then
were
I
though,
just
man.
get to the
You
process.
were. You
Yeah,
were
I mean,
you were ahead of the curve.
hey, I've always been passionate about technology and learning many different subjects. And I think I'm going to have videos on that. I'm a life learner, and I'm always looking to learn about nature, life, um, taking the tools that man has created and using it for something good, but don't allow it to be dependent on us. Um, Understand that media and entertainment can be used for good, and we have to take back that narrative because even if you think about how media and entertainment has progressed, what was a PG-13 movie 20, 30 years ago, it's pretty much like a rated R movie
Oh
now.
my God. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You
Some of
know,
these movies, dude, I can't even, first of all, I'm not a horror guy at all. I don't watch any horror movies, never have, never do.
I
But
remember
some of
that.
like but some of the PG-13 movies now, I don't know, it was a movie that just came out. It was called, I want to say Prey. It's called Prey. It's like the Predator universe, Predator versus Prey. Went to the movies to go see it with Jessica, and I'm in there, and there it's like Mortal Kombat. The way this guy is like doing finishing moves, I'm like, what is going on? It was a lot, but to say I'm only saying that to say you're 100% right when it comes to like these movies and the ratings. It's like PG-13 is not.
Yeah, and it's been in my mind and my observation and understanding how planting seeds in minds and getting people, like you said earlier, to be okay with certain things, they chip away at it. They
Oh yeah.
chip away at people's conscience and feelings and things about stuff. So it's like, let me see how far I can push it. You may get, oh, then it's like, okay, you normalize it a little bit, you
I
push it a
got.
little
I
far,
want to
and
ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. Do you
okay.
believe that there is like a committee of people where it's like a company? It's like as a company, and it's like our job, your role is to do this X, Y, and Z. Like you say, like subconsciously, small little things here and there, just chipping away at that third eye and that mindset of growth. Like, cause it feels like it, man. From some
So,
kids shows, like just to add, Coco Melon was a show where I didn't know until I found out where the way that the show was set up, it's so rapid. Like the frame rates, like it changes every like 2 seconds, and they were saying that that's too overstimulating for babies because what
yeah.
happens is they everything they want to be just rapid. Everything needs to be done quick, quick, quick. So like there's a guy who has a list of shows and like don't let your kids watch these because of X, Y, and Z. So do you believe that's a curated thing?
I mean, we can break that down in so many different things. One, I want to say, even you study marketing and stuff, and marketing comes down to how do we capture people's attention, and what it is do people want so we can keep giving them what they want. And if we go back to the idea of using media and different things and environments to stimulate and try to coach people of the things that they want, or even think about even certain foods. They found certain things that can make people feel like they hungry all the time and stuff like that. So you want to eat more. So I think stimulating people with different media and content and doing that reinforcement can start to create these emotions and feelings of things within us to say, oh, I want more of that. I want more of that. I want more of that. Because again, when you want to control people, and if it's driven by profit, you want to figure out how can I get people to want to consume more. Think of it like a drug dealer. You give them a little taste, they get hooked, they want more, they want more, they want more. So it's like, how do I get people to like and want my content? So you study the human biology and everything else to see those chemicals that's reacting within yourself and saying like, how do I capture their attention that and how do I stimulate that? It becomes like a drug. But not only that, you become attached to these devices and stuff, but the content that's constantly programming your conscious and subconscious mind, and then you become again these characters and people that we want you to be. So I mean, we can go so deep. And now to answer your question, is there a committee? So I can break that down in so many different ways. I feel like again, you live or we live or we're a part of a profit driven society, capitalistic and stuff like that. So when they read the data and say, how can I drive and get more profits? If I put this type of content out, my viewership goes down. Or if I put this type of content out, it goes up. So I think not only we become profit driven, now it's become data driven to try to see what it is that's capturing people's minds. And then how do we influence what it is people want to? So if you're a believer of and saying that, oh, the Bible says this is Satan's system, what do Satan, if he's controlling the system, what do he want? You know,
Wait.
he's going to help
Hold on.
anyone.
Did you just call him Pee Wee?
I didn't say Pee Wee.
I thought you said if Pee Wee's controlling the system. I like that. Yeah, no, I like that. Hey, Pee
If
Wee.
he's controlling the system and he's the ones who's gaining all the profit and stuff like that, maybe he's helping directing potentially how to help influence and push the content and
For sure.
tell people what it is that they want. No one knew they wanted a iPod or iPhone until it was created and given, and then it's like okay. So again, the whole thing about being a creative visionary is to come up with something people didn't even know that they wanted and need, and they become so fascinated about it. Because again, look how far we came along. Like these movies and things that's coming out, the animation, the graphics and stuff, is like mind blowing. But
Hmm.
I'm not super surprised that we can do that because we are intelligent beings made in God's image. We're creative. We can do that. It's all about how do we use that creative power. Um, how do we use our voice? Do we speak life? Do we speak hate? Do we project what it is that we really want, or do we amplify what it is that the ruler of the system want and all his little agents and people that decide to put profit over people at the end of the day, right?
So my next thought is like targeting, right? Like I think this new age and this new wave, and I've found people on the internet that I consider my people like you, people talking about financial literacy, people talking about spirituality and growth and eating healthy and gardens and things like that. So
Yeah,
my thing is, how do we make that the norm? And I think that's the trick, right? You have reverse engineering what they made successful to now engineering what needs to be successful, right? And whether you're targeting, like I said, the millennials, the parents, or you're targeting the children that are growing up, 10 to 21, to like, hey, look, this is what's actually cool. This is
yeah,
what's actually going to benefit you the rest of your life. Not when you're from 14 to 18 when you're playing basketball and you're listening to Chief Keef or you're listening to whoever rap about X, Y, and Z, and then now that's a part of your mental makeup. I want to figure out like how do you impact these kids to water the seed, water the flowers, water the seeds, so to speak.
yeah. Planting new seeds and stuff. I get what you're saying. I think one, it's going to take time, just as much time it has created to get us where we are at, and we're at this height of the moment. But we also are at the opportunity, and we have the opportunity to make a great change. But with that, we're going to have to be patient and knowing that it's going to take time for that swindle to kind of start going back the other way. So if if we take anyone who has been used to listening to certain type of music and entertainment and stuff like that, and we just put them in a room with a bunch of um, positive, great content, then we're, oh man, this is boring, yo. So we have to use the same tricks and mechanisms that was used before. Is mix a little bit here and there, but keep changing the content, going to one different direction. So the
Right,
humor has to be there that they used to, and it's like what some conscious rappers do. They mix it up, right? They may say a little hood stuff, but then they come with some good positive things along with
right,
it and stuff like
right.
that. So it's going to take time for us to start creating content that can cater to both audiences and keep chipping away at what it is that we really want to people start actually liking and loving and desiring and wanting more of the things that we feel that's going to be beneficial to all, right? And we have to change the incentive, again, if we continue to stay, and I hope we don't, in a profit driven economy, it comes down to people making more money. So the people who we keep talking about who may be controlling and all the money flowing back to them and stuff, they don't care how it gets there. They just want it, So if a bunch of garden videos and this and if making them
Yeah,
money,
man.
they're gonna be like, cool.
I
Only
like
the
that.
people want. Um,
That's the change
again,
that's needed. That's the change that's needed for sure.
and we have to break down the fear of people losing control of power. Because a lot of times these people are in these positions because they feel that power. And in a power driven society and people want to have authority over people, that is also associated with money. So if they feel like, man, if money is equally distributed, where do that leave me at?
Right.
So
Yep.
we have to start changing the mind, the incentives, making sure that hey, it doesn't matter if everybody's happy. Who cares? That's a true society. That's a true world. Everyone's in their position, doing the things that they're passionate about. They're creating, they contributing to the society and the world. And because we already know there's plenty for everyone. It's abundance. We throw stuff away all the time. Cars and buildings go vacant and things
Yep.
like that. So there's plenty. It just comes down to the money part of it. At the end of the day, it always comes down to the money. Like, how do certain people make money, and how do we keep people working and busy, things like that. And that goes to your point earlier about going into the office, and many people don't want to go into the office and stuff like that. And a huge reason of that because they want more time. I seen someone posting today, and they was like, well, everybody want more flexibility, and the companies in the future who's going to succeed and win the people over are going to be the ones that's more flexible. I'm like, that is true. That's what the masses want. But again, the people who are profiting from you going into the office need a new incentive about how do I make money still if you're not going into the office.
Right.
And if we have vacant buildings, who's losing money?
Real estate
And
developers and owners, they're the ones who are signing those petitions. Like, yeah, bring them back to the office.
yeah, who's losing money? And not only that, not only who's losing money, you give people more time to think, they start to be like, you know what, man, I don't actually love what I'm doing. And now that I got this extra 2 hours, I'm going to start working on this and better myself. And now it's like, you don't control people's time, keep them busy, keep them stressed and stuff like that. They're going to start figuring out, thinking, connecting with each other, and creating something that, what you said, the masses really want. And then that leaves the people, the small few people who's trying to keep control, that leaves them where? Either they should join everyone else or hop on one of those spaceships and fly to Mars.
I want to add one quick story to what you just said right there. It's funny, man, because this lady on TikTok, she was in corporate America for like 20 years, right? Then COVID happened, and she started doing like sound baths. Like
Say
she,
that word. I'm not sure if
my bad, I'm sorry. And then the pandemic happened.
yeah,
The pandemic, good point. Um,
yeah.
and then she started doing like sound baths on TikTok. And lo and behold, she never went back to work after the restriction went up because she found that she loved doing that more, and she became like an influencer online by just doing sound baths, and she just literally changed the trajectory of her life, just because she had that extra free time. So you're right, they're probably thinking to themselves like, yo, if we give these people more time to think, we'll lose more people to whatever they're passionate about. So that's a huge point. One thing I want to ask too, what I love about the article that you created is you gave action steps to. That's really cool, man. I think a lot of articles don't do that. So can you speak a little bit more about some of the action steps on the media side, and entertainment side, as to what people should be really thinking and doing to really ask themselves, am I headed down the right path?
Yeah, I think some of the things that people can do when they go within is actually be truthful and say, how is this content that I'm consuming impacting me? What feelings do I have when I I'm listening to this or watching this, and also see why does it make you feel that way, right? And then again, if it makes you feel a certain way, how do you transmute that and make that change and don't allow it to impact you in the outside world? And we can use the analogy again, going back to probably looking at content that may talk about certain sensitive subjects and things that make you want to go be mad and look at other people and be mad at them when they probably had nothing to do with any of the things, but since we are still experiencing some of those things, it can be sensitive because we still see a lot of injustices in the world, but we can't blame everyone as being part of the problem, right? But what we can do is work with others to change. So we go within, we find these feelings, and we work with them. But then we also start to try to consume more good content that's going to put us in a good headspace, right?
That was going to be my question. I don't want to cut you off, but I say I'm that, 13 to 17-year-old athlete playing baseball in high school, and I'm used to listening to rap and hip hop to get me excited before my games or practices. What would you suggest as a better alternative, or something that you can go to say, hey, this can fill that void if you're looking for this sort of energy to, what would you give as like an alternative?
Yeah. So I look at what gets you in the zone and the energy that you're carrying. So I used to work out a lot. You remember that. I used to work out. I got certified as a personal trainer when I was like 19. After I worked full time, during the day at my job doing tech, in the evening I work out. But if you opened up my headphones and listened to what I was listening to, it was actually classical music. Because even at that age, I understood getting myself in the zone to concentrate and being in the moment of what it is that I was doing was a way for me to get greater results. I'm not telling everyone to go out and listen to classical music before a game, but I will say whatever can get you in a positive state and get you in the moment to get there. You want to get hype, you want to get energy, but what hype and energy do you want to embody and feel?
Like
You can
affirmations can help too. Stuff like meditation music.
affirmations, meditate, anything that can get you in that flow state. And that's what it is about being in the zone, that flow state. And it's amazing when you reach that flow state with no matter what activity that you're doing. It's just like almost everything kind of slows down and it's just you and that in that moment. You can realize and see those things. I did that when I was working out, lifting weights. I've done that even when I'm studying about computers and things. Everything is blocked out and you're in the zone, and you're right in that moment and you're working with that problem and stuff, and things just come to you, and that's why you see some of these great athletes when they get in that flow state. You're like, man, who are they even playing against?
Yeah.
It's just like light work. It's like
It's like, excuse me, pardon me.
Steph Curry raining those threes, man, and
Oh man.
you got to think about it. You have the crowd screaming this and that. You have to be able to zone all that out, you know. So think about the energy you want to embody and pay attention to what music give you that energy. And for me, I feel that more positive energy gives me the ability to conquer all because they say love conquers all. So if I'm in that good, loving flow spirit and I'm playing against someone, it's like Bruce Lee. I love to talk about Bruce Lee, because he was always in control over that situation. And if he was out being angry and wild, he wouldn't be able to do the things that he was doing. Like he was just pretty much at one with his opponents. He knew exactly. He's like, okay, because he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
allowing anger to control. In the beginning, if you look at some of his stories, he had to work through, I feel, some of those traumatizing things that he was going through as a young kid, but he transformed that and he became a much better individual in using martial arts as an expression of who he is. But he understood energy. He understood being in that flow state. He understood having complete control over self and not losing control over yourself because that's the thing. And that, again, you like sports. What's the first thing you're trying to do? You're trying to get in someone's head. Every time I'm
Correct.
watching football, I'm like, I bet you they down there whispering some stuff,
Oh my
telling each
gosh,
other
of
some
course.
stuff.
Of course.
He
It's
talks
gonna be a
tough.
long
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, the game just started, man. Relax. It's gonna be a long night. Uh, Time out, coach.
Did you
Yeah,
hear those
man.
footsteps?
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm right behind you. Like, oh my, I could not play football, dude. That's yeah. Like the objective is certain. Like my thing is like the objective of certain players. Like their whole job is to tackle you. Their whole job is to slam you on the ground. Like I'm no, I'm okay, dude. That's your
Yeah.
job.
They, so when you're in that flow state, and whatever gets you there, for me, I would say it's going to be something positive to get me to be more calm and control over the situation. Anything that's pumping me up, being mad and angry and stuff like that, you're going to be out there wow. You could see the person in the gym, throwing weights around, and eventually they're going to hurt themselves, stuff like that. But when you see people have more control than tune, they focus on the muscles that they're working, you know, it's more defined, and you can see that they like crafted that. It's like artwork, when they craft their bodies and they can like really pinpoint where it is that they want to work. And I also think part of that inner work is learning about yourself and your body, so you can intentionally focus on those areas that needs to be focused on. Even your brain, your mind, your subconscious mind. Learn how all that stuff works. Gain control over it. So yeah, I know we right here almost about an hour here, Dion, and I think we could do this all day. We always talk about it like, man, if
Seriously.
we would have recorded this conversation, this was a good, deep conversation. It was great. We always talked about it. Now we finally did it. Hopefully, we get to do it again. Um, we hopefully we can put out content that people want to help motivate them to become that better version of themselves. I look forward to hearing feedback from the community and different people just asking me what they want to see more of. And maybe sometimes we can do a live video and we have people actively asking questions and we ask questions
That
on
would
the
be
spot.
cool.
Yeah, and we get better at it. I'm pretty sure that one of my fears and stuff when I was younger was speaking out loud or getting in front of people, speaking and stuff. Even though I have a lot to say, if you get to know me and I get to talking, I talk a lot. but I have, but I will say when I was working at some different companies and was given the opportunity to give presentations in front of people, it started to build my confidence. It wasn't that I wasn't confident being able to speak on a subject because I understood the subject. It's just that I'm critical about how how I sound or how I enunciate certain words and things at times. So it's like, man, did I just foobar that word, or am I gonna cripple what it
Ronnie,
is that
you're
I'm
from
out?
Chicago, man. You're from Chicago. It's okay.
I'm from Chicago, and
You
so
got that Chicago twang, baby. It's never going
yeah,
anywhere. I will say this, man. I'm super excited. I think I'm happy to have. you as a mentor, as a big brother, but I'm even more excited that you're spreading your knowledge and wisdom to others. There's a lot of young boys and girls out there, and there's a lot of men and women out there that could definitely benefit from hearing some of the things that you have to say, man. The wisdom. You're definitely someone I come to when I have an issue or problem, or just if I want advice. So I believe my temple is going to be something that is going to help a lot of people. And I'm just excited to be a part of the journey. I'm excited to be one of the first few people on the pod, as far as like one of the first few episodes. So when I look back 5 years from now, I'm like, I remember that moment. And this has been a long time coming. Like you said, we've had discussions for hours and hours and hours, many times. So it's good to get something recorded, and we'll just get better and better each and every time we do this. Look and hoping to just shed as much wisdom and light on people as I possibly can from my
Yeah, and I
experience.
appreciate. Sorry. Yeah, I appreciate you joining and being part of this journey with me, Dion. I look forward to us working together, doing more episodes in the future together. I look forward to seeing you continue to grow, and I know you probably look forward to seeing me continue to grow because life is a journey. There's always something to learn. There's always some cycle that we need to break that keeps resurfacing in our life, and we have to just figure out how to push through it because love is endurance, and we just keep going. We just have to maybe change what it is that we're doing a little bit and keep going until we break it. And then if it resurfaces, don't let that discourage you. Be like, I got this. I'm starting again with more wisdom and more knowledge, so I know how to handle this. And you go at it again. And that's what it's about. That's what the journey is about. Us learning and growing together. I also want to give a shout out to all the different content creators out there that's pushing the same content. There's no competition. It's all about us just bombarding the system with as much good, vibrational, positive content as much as possible, getting it in front of people, sharing wisdom, sharing each other's stuff. Because one thing I've also learned in life, Dion, is that two people could say the same thing, but one person may actually hear and listen better from hearing it from another person. I say, I even see that in genres of music. We know reggae has been heavily came, or at least I grew up on it with Jamaicans and stuff from Jamaica singing reggae and stuff. Even when I went to Canada, they had a version of it called ska, SKA, which was a reggae flavor. But even the new age versions of reggae, where you having different cultures sing it, but it's all about the same rhythm,
Yeah,
beats, and message and stuff like that. That's okay because they keep into what the message is about and they are able to impact other people that may not have listened to reggae before,
for sure.
So again, when you have multiple people pushing the same type of content, maybe you are the one that actually will be able to impact that individual who's willing to listen. And that's how we work together,
And
you
just to
know?
add, for those people who look down and frown down on people of different cultures and backgrounds who embrace certain music, certain style, guys, that's the point of the music and the style is to inspire. Like those
Yes.
people probably know more about reggae music than most people who say they like reggae music because they engulfed in the culture. So I love to see that. I wholeheartedly embrace people who embrace culture.
Yep, and you have to. That's the whole us uniting and loving different cultures, eating different food and stuff like that. But we have a lot of things to talk about. I kind of want to wrap this one
Yep.
up where we at. Again, I appreciate you, Dion, for coming on and creating this energy with me here, and look forward to us being able to do a lot more of this. Is there anything you want to shout out? I definitely will be putting links to your Instagram or whatever you want to share with people and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Nothing in particular I want to shout out other than the article. guys, if you haven't already, go check out the article on My Temple. There's a few articles up there. Go check them out, guys. This most recent one, the one that we kind of talked about, media and entertainment, it has a plethora of different subjects with great information and a bunch of action steps. So go check it out. It's really, really dope. And yeah, super excited and looking forward to the
Awesome. Peace. Much love, everyone. And see you guys on the next episode.